Um, Listeners, if I had 5 minutes with you at Starbucks and you had a latte in your hand, you looked at your watch and you said, Tim, I've only got 5 minutes, lay it on me. This is what I would say. Um, don't think control, think connect. So isn't it true at work, Will, or at home for that matter, if you have teenagers, if something goes awry, you want to just seize control of the situation with that young person. I think control's a myth. We've never really truly had control of anybody's attitude. So I need to stop seeking control, which I'll never have, and start seeking connection. So instead of wagging a finger at them, I'm putting an arm around the shoulder, so to speak, and I'm really hearing them out. When I connect, I don't get control, but I get lots of influence, and I usually get to lead them better if I seek connection. Here's another one. Don't think what, think why. Generation Z needs to hear why when we give them tasks to do. Now, back in my day, I worked for John Maxwell right out of college. So I was 23 years old back in the early 80s. And, he'd just tell me what to do. And I would say, yes, sir. Well, that doesn't fly. So if I will take the time before I ever say what I'd like you to do, to say, here's why this task is very important, or here's why we need to accomplish this goal, and then maybe give them a little bit more reason to come up with a way to get it done. In fact, that's another one. I think it's don't think prescriptive, think descriptive. Instead of prescribing every step of the way we want them to take, describe the goal and say, Josh, get to it however you want to, but just get to that goal. They may shock you with the incredible ideas they have. In fact, can I illustrate that real quick? I know I'm waxing eloquent and staying long. If you remember the opening part of the book, I share the story of Colin Webb. I've known Colin since he was in high school, Gwinnett County High School, and was a really smart kid. In fact, so smart that he was offered to come to MIT for his college degree. So he went to MIT, served in student government all 4 years. So you can imagine he had several job offers when he graduated. Well, he decided to move to Detroit and work for one of the big three, General Motors. So he's working for one of these automakers, this, Fortune 500 company. Well, immediately Will looks around and sees, if I can say it this way, some old school traditional ways of doing things at this very old company. And so Will starts making a list of things that could be better. We could do professional development better. We could make that system over there better. We could make this process better. He came up with 4 or 5 ideas. He took them to his supervisor, and basically he was turned down. The supervisor said, hey, buddy, you're young, you're inexperienced. Just keep your head down, your nose to the grindstone, and just do your work. Well, Colin said, yes, sir, but he thought, I know these are good ideas. So get this, you're going to love this. He writes an email to the CEO of General Motors, Mary Barra, and says, I got these ideas. Mary gets back to him and says, these are really good ideas. Let me take these to the executive team. Now, remember, this is GM. They look at them and they go, these are really good ideas. But Will, as you can imagine, by the time those ideas made their way down the org chart to the middle managers and the supervisors, they died on the vine. And once again, Will heard, just keep your head down. In fact, he heard from the supervisor, you need to be around here 8 years before you can lead anything. Well, to a sharp young man, that was a death sentence. He left before the end of the year. He stayed 1 year. He's since then become a serial entrepreneur. He started 3 companies, sold one. He's doing quite well now. And I can't help but think, oh, GM lost someone they could have really retained and used well if they'd only listened a little.